Hi, so what I have here is the Instant Vortex 6-quart air fryer, and what I'm going to do is go over some of the dimensions and also go over why I went and switched from a 2-quart to a 6-quart, some of the more countertop space as well as cooking these wings and showing you the results of it. So let me go ahead and show you the dimensions first. So if you look at the dimensions here, on the countertop, it is actually 11.5 inches deep, 11.5 inches wide, and the height of this is actually 12.5 inches. So you'll see for me, it gives pretty decent clearance, and just to give you a visual of your typical clearance from a microwave here, and also the size of a typical range. And you'll see here I have a plate of wings, so you could sort of judge just how big it is. Now I went with the square version, and the reason why I like the square version is because it maximizes the amount of food you could put in the actual container itself, and also the countertop space. Now if you have a round air fryer, what it does is it actually wastes a lot of space because of the round edges. You don't maximize the capacity of the tray, the food tray itself, with the countertop space. So I went with a square one for that reason. Now let me go through the container itself. So the container itself does come with a drip tray that is removable. Let me go ahead and show you some of the dimensions of this. So the width here is 9 3/4 inches, and it is 9.5 inches. And as far as the depth here, it is 4 inches depth. Now, when you are choosing a air fryer, what you want to do is you want to choose the wider ones. So that's why I replaced my 2-quart with a 6-quart, was because the countertop space was comparable. You know, this isn't terribly bigger than a 2-quart one, but it has 6-quart capacity. So the other thing is also, when you're putting your food on a air fryer, you want it spread out. You don't want to put things on top of each other. So putting things on top of each other doesn't have that even frying crispiness to it, because the air fryer blows the air down and circulates throughout, which is why you have this drip tray with all of these holes. Put in the tray here to activate it. You'll see there is an air fryer choice, there's a roast, there's a timer. So if I choose the timer, all I do is I set the time, and then now I choose temperature. I could set the temperature after that. Now the other thing I want to mention is with all of these air fryers, when you're first doing it, you have to burn it in 3-4 times, because it will have the rubbery smell to it. So just keep that in mind, that it's going to have the rubbery smell unless you use it 3 or 4 times. So what I did was I turned it on without any food, you know, for 20 minutes each, and after 3 or 4 times the rubbery smell was gone. So just keep that in mind when you're buying these things new. So the Instant Vortex does have Celsius and Fahrenheit, so to switch between, you want to hold this down for 2 seconds, and it'll switch back and forth between Fahrenheit and Celsius here. So notice that's how you switch back and forth between Fahrenheit and Celsius. Now let me go ahead and just you know, bake these wings here. So these wings are just the frozen wings, and they're your typical Tyson frozen wings from the big box stores, Costco's and BJ's or Sam's Club. And I have a normal plate here, so just to give you the size of this plate, this is your normal dinner plate. And there are 9 wings here, and I'm going to put the 9 wings right in here, and I'm just going to cook it. So let me go ahead and put the wings in and show you how much space it takes. So this is a set of 9 wings, and you can see it's actually pretty well spread out, you know. So this does feed a good, you know, 2, 3, 4 people pretty easily. If you wanted to put half the bag in there, you can, but here you could see there is you know, actually 8 wings in here, which is a serving that, you know, you typically would get in Buffalo Wild Wings. So what I'm going to do is put this in. So I'm going to just spread it out a little bit more. because you do want it nice and even. Now, the other thing I wanted to go through and show you here, before I put this tray in, the other thing I want to show you is the heating element. So just showing you the heating element here. You could see for this heating element, it is your typical electrical heating element. This does use, I believe, 1200 watts. And you could see up top there's a spinning fan. Now, let me just go ahead and put the food in. Put this in. And it's pretty easy to set. So I'm going to choose my air fry, choose the time, and I'm going to make it 18 minutes. And the temperature, I'm going to have to reset back to Fahrenheit. And that's really what I want it as, 385 degrees Fahrenheit. And simply going to push start. And now you could hear the wind tunnel noise here. Now it's going to do its preheating, which is what it has here. It's doing the preheating. And let me just go ahead and go around and give you a sense of how loud this is. Now you do want 3 inches of clearance, though I would say from personal experience it doesn't really get that hot. You know, there is some warm air that comes out, but it is warm and not hot air. When you reach your hand around, it's not going to burn you. So I'm just going to go ahead now and pause the video, wait that 20 minutes, and show you the results of the hot wings here. So notice it does give you a indicator in the midway point to actually turn the food over. So just keep that in mind that it does have that feature. So now you'll notice there's less than a minute left, so it's just counting down the seconds. It switched from a countdown of minutes to a countdown of seconds. So this is a very good, nice little feature of this. The other thing I want to mention is that there are no fingerprints in this. You'll notice it has that nice brushed black look, and this is actually just plastic. But no matter how oily, well, not no matter how oily, but you'll notice reasonably it doesn't get the fingerprints on this, so it's easy to clean. I like that this is a flat top, so you could put a dish or you could put a trivet up there, or anything else. So this doesn't really get hot up here at all. So that's a nice thing to know. Okay, so now this is finally ended. It took a pretty quick 18 minutes to cook, and in between it will have the preset, which allows you to pull out the tray while it's preheating and put in the food. It also gives you a indicator of turning the food, in which case you're just pulling out the tray and turning it over. So those are nice features of this. So now I'm finally gonna pull out the food. And you could see those are the wings. And maybe I might have left it in like a minute too long, but you could see just how nicely crisp it is. I'm just gonna rest it up on this trivet. So I'm just gonna zoom in to the wings. And you'll notice this is from a full plate here. So even with this full plate, you'll notice that I could put probably 3, 4, 5, 6 plates on there if I really wanted to stack it and I really wanted to just turn over the food. So that's the other aspect of it, is if you do overload it, you could also just turn over the food in the middle of having this turned on, and by just pulling it out, and then it'll just be in pause. So just zooming in and just giving you a better look. And I'll show you the underside. So you see how the underside is, just as nice and crisp. And just to show you some of the cleaning aspects of this, so there really isn't much to clean, because what happens is there is that turbo fan that actually blows hot air out. So even if there's splashes of oil, it's actually sort of a little bit preventing from popping up to the top because the fan is blowing from the top. So you might want to wipe that down a little bit, but really it doesn't really get all that dirty. And that's really it. I hope this helps, and please subscribe, and thank you for watching.